I am so excited about this. I have tarried on this decision for quite some time. Let me give you some background. A couple of years ago, I did a series on the book of Revelation. And I did that series because I had taught it at several churches, and people wanted me to put it on video so that they could share it with their friends. And so I did. I put it on my YouTube channel. And I went through the book of Revelation step by step. And it was wonderful. And I'm not saying that I said anything or did anything wrong in that series, because I believe it was very concise and to the point. But you know how the Bible is constantly revealing itself to you. And since then, several years ago, I've just got a fresh look on the book of Revelation. Nothing has changed. It's still the same book, and I still look at it the same way, but there's things about it that I think that I need to go back to. So I'm starting this series, and this is the intro to it. This is how for you to look at the book of Revelation and how to study it. And it's going to reveal some things to you. The first thing I want to talk about is you can't just read the book of Revelation without understanding that the book of Revelation came from the book of Matthew, and the book of Matthew, chapter 24 and 25, came from the book of Daniel, and the book of Daniel came from Jeremiah, and the book of Jeremiah came from Ezekiel, and so forth and so on. These things have all been prophesied since the beginning, since Moses was on the mountain. And there's no way to say, well, the book of Revelation is a standalone book. It's not. It depends heavily on the other books. When Jesus was sitting on the mountain with the fellows in Matthew chapter 24 and 25, everything that he was telling them was from scripture that already existed, but he was just making it new to them. And then when he came to John on the Isle of Patmos and gave him the revelation, it was like, okay, John, I told you in Matthew 24 and 25, but let me tell you again, and this time I'm going to refresh it and make it mean even more to you. So that's how we have to look at the book of Revelation. I mean, we have to go back to Ezekiel when he references the good shepherd. He talks about being the good shepherd in Ezekiel, along with other end time prophecies. Then he talks in Daniel about being the Son of Man, and in Ezekiel being the Son of Man. In Ezekiel alone, it uses the term Son of Man 90 times. In Daniel, I haven't counted, but it's more than once, I'm sure. And then you go back, I mean, everything that Jesus taught and said came from Scripture. There was nothing new there. There was everything that had always been written, but he just had a way of explaining it and making it alive. Like Matthew 3:16, where he talks about you must be born again. If you go back to Ezekiel and read the vision of the dry bones, gosh, and you tie the two together, it's just incredible how much he took from the Old Testament and brought it into the New Testament. And in short, Jesus never directly quotes Ezekiel or Daniel, never exactly. but you can see it there. Now, what does this all what does this all have to do with the book of Revelation? Everything. Because you must read the book of Revelation with the thought of John was a Jew and Jesus was a Jew. And this was one Jew in such a poetic form, giving a revelation to another Jew to give to us. And understand that there's yet to be fulfilled certain things on the book of Revelation. But first, we have to understand what the word fulfilled means. The word fulfilled, when he says, when we say that Jesus fulfilled the law and the prophets when he hung on the cross and before, we don't mean that it came to an end and that was the finality of it, because the word fulfilled in the Bible is not the same as the word fulfilled outside of the Bible. The word fulfilled in the Bible has the same connotation of, in Revelation, when it says, I am he who was and who is and who will always be. Time has no meaning. And in the frame of that, he says that I am that I am. That transcends time. The word fulfill in the Bible transcends time, just like being saved. It's a classic example. And I've taught this many times. When I tell someone that I'm saved, what I'm really saying is I was saved, because I can go back to that point in time and say that was the day that I accepted Christ. So I was saved. But the Apostle Paul teaches us that we work out our salvation daily. So I'm being saved. And then Jesus himself said, he that endures to the end shall be saved. So my salvation is a three-part process. I was saved, I'm being saved, and I will be saved. It's the same with the word fulfill. And keep that in mind whenever you read prophecy, whenever you read scripture, whenever you read the book of Revelation. And we're going to use that terminology a lot during this study. Yes, this is just an intro for it, but I want you to understand that I really couldn't teach. I couldn't start with chapter 1 without giving you this intro. This is probably one of the most important things because it's going to lay the groundwork for how you look at the book of Revelation. So, with that being said, knowing that the gospel, the message, and everything is being fulfilled as we speak, let's go ahead and dive in. We'll start with chapter 1, and we'll do it by itself. So go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. And this is going to be in podcast format. So you'll be able to go back and you can listen to it in your car without watching the video. And I hope it blesses you. Let's get going.